world. My name is Max Stein, and I love video games.
I'm the Megabuck. I really love video games.
And I'm Raph. I also really like video games.
And welcome to the Game Treasure Podcast, where we discuss treasured video games of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Today, it's summer, and the teacher's wheeling in the AV cart, baby. Because we didn't get ready for anything.
Yeah, there we go.
We're about to hang 10 with nothing but news today, baby. Woo!
Hell yeah. Oh, damn. He's got a fucking
Full-blown surfboard.
He's got a surfboard.
I always got props. You know I always got props.
Yeah, you got some serious props right there. My man has a surfboard.
What am I getting at? I'm getting at that it's halfway through the year and it's summer as hell here in Florida, and we didn't. There's no good games coming out, but there were a lot of announcements. So you know what? We're pretty much just going to talk about that for most of the episode today. However, we did get our hands on a new drop, the Nintendo World Championship NES edition. Megabuck shelled out the cash to actually buy the physical edition of this pretty kick-ass game, if I may say so myself.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, this shit was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we managed to borrow it over here at the house and have a little tiny 6-way party with it, and it was fun as hell.
Oh, I'm jealous. I didn't get to play with that many people.
I just want to say, you just had that surfboard on the ready.
Yeah,
I'm at the beach on vacation.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
I had no idea that Mac was going to
awesome.
play surf music, and I'm like, my surfboard's right
It
behind me.
It just worked. That was fucking awesome.
You guys, the YouTube kids know that I always have props, whether I need to or not.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Speaking of props, as per usual, the Megabuck and RetroGameTreasure.com are going to take us back in time with this week's Retro Zone, aren't they, Buck?
Let's go back in time. Did you guys know that Sony made a handheld console? I mean, of course you did. That was a rhetorical question.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
I thought, was this a trick question? I thought you were trying to trick me.
It was a trick question. Yes, because they made two, the PS Vita. It was a trick question. So Square made some games for the PSP, and for some beautiful reason, they went in a different direction with one of their staple series. And so today I bring to the table Dissidia Final Fantasy for the PSP.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Raph, do you know what this is?
I've heard of it, and I don't know much about it.
This is the fighting game Final Fantasy series.
Yeah.
Okay. You got a cabinet of this, don't you?
I do. I have an arcade cabinet of this. That you guys have seen. If you watch our arcade episode and I do a tour of my arcade, you get to see my Dissidia Final Fantasy arcade machine, which they had in Japan for quite a number of years.
It was cool as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so this was the first iteration of it for the PSP. Dissidia Final Fantasy. This was a little more simple. This one was, I believe, a 1-on-1 fighting game, which later evolved into a 3-on-3 fighting game, which made it a real blast. You do it in more of a 3D. One of the things that set this game aside, on the fact that it's full of Final Fantasy characters, is that every character had like a shield health bar plus a normal health bar. You had to break their shield before you could reduce their health, before you could actually kill them, and the shields would replenish. It's like a Halo thing in a fighting game, right?
Yeah, very Halo, yeah.
But I mean, this one's got Warrior of Light, Cecil, Onion Knight I see on here, Zidane, Cloud, a lot of your staples.
I remember being hype as hell when this game first came out. Was the PSP the first iteration of Dissidia?
Yeah.
Do you know off the top of your head? They was. Okay, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they made two versions for the PSP. But
you being in college and being like, if you ever played Air Geist, a game that we got to see this weekend actually over at a concert that Buck and I. But the idea of playing as some Final Fantasy characters in a fighting game was very titillating. Pre-Smash Brothers Ultimate, in which you can play as
everybody.
Yeah, Cloud and Sephiroth and everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a I haven't thought of that game in forever outside of the huge, like you said, 3-on-3 cabinet that you have. What's that Gundam
Yes.
game? Not to get sidetracked, but of the same sort of genre, this sort of
That's the
3-on-3
Gundam
arena
versus
cabinet
series.
fighter.
Yeah, Gundam
Yeah, it's very
versus the versus series. Yeah,
Japanese. The idea of
they're a
linking
lot of
these
fun.
cabinets
Though.
together and playing them on with strangers in
Yeah.
a arcade.
They always have those at MagFest when I go. They usually have at least 2 sets of them, and it's a 2v2 game. And one of the side cabinets is like a monitoring cabinet. In other words, it has a screen, and you can just cycle through the different players' points of view, and you can see the overview map of watching them. So you're like watching the battle that's going on live between those 4 cabinets right next to you there.
I didn't know
That's
that.
so freaking cool,
Yeah,
dude.
those are pretty
That's
cool.
a good
So
idea.
it's like Maxi Burst, something like that. Maxi Boost is the name of that Gundam series or the newest one.
Maxi Pad Gundams.
The
It's
Maxi, yeah.
Time of the
Japanese
Month or something. I think it's called.
see my episode where I talked about Guilty Gear
Sequel
games
to
with the
Tampon.
Japanese nomenclature of weird
so
naming things.
Dissidia,
Mhm.
what kind of settings you got to have at RetroGameTreasure.com to get Dissidia? It's a fighting game, yes.
It is. It's a fighting game, which one of our categories is kind of fun. And we also have, remember how we've talked about like sci-fi and superheroes being the subgenres you can select? Fantasy is one, like fantasy, high fantasy, medieval fantasy. Fantasy is one of our subgenres you can select. So you'd have to have fighting games, PSP, and fantasy selected to get a game like this because it's pretty unique. There aren't too many.
That's so
medieval fantasy
specific. I
stuff.
was just thinking that.
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna get any other games?
Soul
Yeah.
Calibur.
What?
Okay.
All right,
All
off
right.
the top of my
Soul
head,
Calibur,
I'm
yeah.
trying
Soul
to do.
Calibur,
Yeah.
on that. Yep, for sure.
I'm trying to
But
do
the
the
thing
math
is
here.
by putting in those categories, if you have fantasy, but you have fighting games, action adventure games, RPGs highlighted, then you've opened up more windows for us, right? That's kind of the idea.
Fair, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that would be an excellent staple for a PSP collection, I think.
Oh yeah,
It's a good.
They made 2 of
fighting
them.
game.
The Duodecium 012, I think, is the name of the sequel.
The Halo health bar is welcome for me. I always like the idea of if you can get away and get a breath, then you
can get a second win.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not all over once you get one bad flop. You know,
Yeah,
you can sort
right.
of recuperate.
But the
I wish more
3v3 when
fighting
they
games
brought that
had
in,
that.
yeah, and when they brought in the 3v3 in the later on games, it made it more fun because like you could play a support class, right? Like Ishtola from Final Fantasy 14 was like literally a white mage class, in that.
Right.
And you could play a support to your team, and she could still cast like poison and
Right.
you know stuff
What
like
a
fun stuff like
crazy
that.
concept to like make a
Yeah.
fighting game where you're also having RPG classes involved. Like that's
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's really
it was a
gnarly.
blast. That arcade one's a blast. Well, next time you come over, I'll fire up the Dissidia arcade machine so you can try it out.
Hell yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Well, that almost segues pretty nicely into our next topic of conversation when we come back from this quick little break. We're going to talk about Evo and Comic-Con. A bunch of stuff got dropped. We'll be right back. Okay, guys. Hadouken. Evo 2024 just happened, and it was
Bless you.
pretty fucking tight. I went over to Buck's Beach condo where he's staying to watch. They were just like eating food. The sun's out. People are getting hype as hell on Evo. The announcers
games are on.
It's
Hell yes.
Buck and his son and then me, and we're just chilling watching fighting games, and it was a
Mhm.
pretty fucking good time. And I'll say it was a pretty fucking good Evo.
Yes.
Raph, were you able to watch those highlights at all? Did you watch
I
any
saw
of
a
the...
little bit. Yeah, I was watching it. Dude, honestly, the thing that really just astounds me is how good fighting game players are at fighting games.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
dude, what, man? These people
Yeah.
are moving so fast and like, man, it looked pretty gnarly. I'm not gonna lie.
And the extent to which fighting games have evolved now with not only how people can play them, but just the mechanics in some of them. With that Grand Blue Fantasy, Buck, is that the one that you were
Yeah.
talking about where your moves have
Yeah.
a timer, like delay on them? You got to watch
Also like
that,
a
but then
lockout on them so
also
you can't spam fireballs.
we had several cool things. First of all, I wanted to highlight my favorite match because I don't know if you got to see this, Raph, but Street Fighter Third Strike had an excellent top 10, and
my
there's one match
gosh.
in particular that I fucking got to. It was. I'm gonna play this clip, and we're gonna watch this now. And
Yeah, please, yeah, because I
react
saw
to
People
the
are calling
highlights
this
reel. I saw the
Evo
highlights reel.
People are calling this Evo moment 38.
I think I did see
my
this.
God.
Yes.
Okay, go for the throw.
The highest tier
Nice.
Hugo play ever.
Back up. He's not dead yet.
You're like, oh
Do we
shit,
go
it's
for the- do
over.
We go for the cross of Tatsu.
Oh god, so
Ooh,
much
ooh.
pressure. Oh
Universal
no,
overhead, then
he's
backs
going
away.
forward.
Dashes up in danger.
Missed that parry.
Oh my God,
Didn't
no.
miss
Parry,
those.
parry, parry,
Oh,
air cross up.
oh.
Okay.
Tosses him,
Woo!
not dead. Jumps
And then-
over the super. There he is.
Insane.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How did he do
Oh,
that?
Crazy.
Damn.
Shit
Moment
makes my
37
hair stand
is,
on
of course,
end.
the famous Daigo Umehara and Justin Wrong match. People are calling that third strike moment 38.
38.
But he
Wow,
was able to
dude.
make a
Amazing.
decision
Absolutely
in a very
incredible.
I could watch that all
watched
day.
The
crazy
guy
scenario.
that
And
lost.
look at this, the pop-up.
The look on
This is
his
what he
face
wants.
right now
He
when
is
the
a
camera pulled
showman.
up was just
But
like he was
Jesus
astounded.
Christ, what a freaking
Oh,
play!
That is
Third
for the
strike,
for the guy
everybody.
playing his Ken, the person who I'm sorry I
What
don't know
just
their
happened?
names, but
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
man, what a heartbreaker. Because you're going, I've got him dead to rights. I've got the super in the air. He's the biggest, slowest character in the game. Like, there's no way he could possibly. And then he parries them all in
Yeah.
the air, lands,
Oh.
does the one of the most notoriously bad in the air moves is that outstretch that Hugo does, where his
Because
hitbox
it's not
becomes,
safe at all. Yeah.
No, it's not safe at all. But he squeezes just barely above
Yeah.
so that he can, and then he
Yeah.
has to do man. What
Yeah.
a fantastic sequence. I love Street Fighter Third Strike. I think at some point in there, the announcer says, this is the best video game of all time. Like, the best fighting
I do
game.
love me some third strike.
It's so fucking good. I was so
video
happy
games
to
are
see it in
fucking
there.
Great, man.
Yeah.
Video games are awesome. Like that was like that is on par with like any athletic like
Oh, yeah.
event that I've seen. I was like,
Oh,
oh shit, that
100%.
looks so impressive.
Yeah.
Wild.
When you watch
Especially if
the
you
highest level
played-
of play.
If you played Street Fighter Third Strike, parrying a slow moving fireball that your friend is telling you is coming can be difficult for me for you to
Yeah.
parry all those moves in the air. It's fucking gorgeous. And then to
How
do it
do
with a
they,
character that's so unconventional, to do it with Hugo, it's so cool. It's just
Yeah.
so awesome.
I was curious, like, what are they running these? It's like, looking at it, that animation looks so smooth.
That's a great almost sort of segue. I believe it was on one of the newer Capcom collections.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Okay.
they've because the whole, it's actually pretty cool what they've been doing, especially Capcom, with re-releasing these games and these new hardwares so that people can still play
Mhm.
them. I wanted to talk about how Shuhei Matsumoto did an interview with IGN and was talking about how he wants to make a new Versus series with Marvel, like another
Yes, please.
entry in that.
Cool,
Yes,
yeah,
so
that's
perhaps
awesome.
Marvel
Everybody
versus
wants
Capcom
MVC4.
4.
Everybody wants
Yeah,
that.
that would be pretty tight.
What year did
I
MVC3 come out? Somebody, what year was that?
Oh,
honestly
man.
never played it.
Fate of Two Worlds, 2011. Where was the Marvel MCU 13 years ago?
Right.
Oh,
Good
man.
point.
Right?
So now it's primed for another Marvel vs. Capcom. And he's in the interview. He's like, they're like, "How's your relationship with Marvel?" He's like, "Pretty fucking good." And it was just like, that sounds
Wink,
good.
wink, nudge,
Yeah,
nudge.
yeah.
Oh man. Oh, that's exciting.
I would love to see a new Marvel vs. Capcom game. And
Wow.
then another really fun, exciting thing that happened is Katsuhiro Harada came out in the Tekken announcement portion
Yep.
before the Tekken finals and
Yeah.
said,
just kidding.
guess what? Heihachi Mishima is not dead. He's alive, like canonically, whatever. And he
He's just
brought
been
him back
living
to
in
life.
that
He's gonna be
volcano
in
for a
next
couple of
second.
months.
Yeah, they still play by the silly SNK. You can kill characters on the storyline of the fighting game rules or whatever. But
JK,
then
my boy's back.
only to immediately break them, which is
Yeah.
always fun. But goddamn, Tekken looked gorgeous. I didn't
Yeah,
pull the
it did.
clip for the Tekken finals, but the Dragunov versus, I don't know the name of that female character,
Oh,
but
yeah.
Tekken
And
always.
Tekken looks
Oh,
great.
The guy that won Tekken again this year, I think, was from Pakistan, the United Arabian States, and
Emirates.
he's like a 4 or 5 time Tekken champion. And that series went, I think, all the way through losers, like it reset the bracket, and then went like to the last round of the last match. Like it came all the way down to the wire. Oh man, was it good! That's some good tech.
I wish I was good at Tekken. I love the way
Right.
it looks. I love the way when people get on a string and do like just a massive like 3/4 of your health bar combo by
Mhm.
bouncing you against the
Mhm.
walls of the stage. I was like, they look like they're just. Me and Buck were watching Evo, and there's a moment where two guys were they were rewatching a match that they played years ago at an
Yes.
old Evo,
Dude.
and they were watching it, getting hyped, talking shit to each other, like as they're like, "Oh, you bounced me off the wall. Yeah, I was fucking waxing that ass, boy." Like,
Smack. Like
so funny.
honestly, as someone who played a lot of Tekken growing up, I played a lot of Tekken 3, a lot of Tekken 2. I also wish I was good at Tekken.
So when do I get good anyway? That's the beauty part.
Yeah.
You gotta get good.
The fighting game news doesn't stop there though, because at San Diego Comic-Con, Mortal Kombat had their
Oh,
huge
dude, yes.
announcement.
Dude, I'm
Oh,
so
man.
excited.
The Season 1 DLC characters,
Yeah, man. we got-
including Conan the Barbarian,
Hell yeah.
the T-1000,
Yes.
and
Fucking
Ghostface from
Yeah.
Scream, as well as
Well,
Buck. Is a female version of Sector
It's
and
female
Cyrax?
Cyrax. They show them with their masks off. So the cameo versions of Cyrax and Sector are already playable in that game, and those are the MK3 ones that we already know about that were in MK10 and 11, I think, too. These are
Okay.
alternate reality female, Lin Kuei cybernetic ninjas, Cyrax and Sector. Also bringing back Noob Saibot.
That's who that robot is. It's Noob.
Oh.
Or that
No,
ninja.
he's
I'm
not-
sorry.
that's
That's
the
who that
third
ninja
one. The
is.
black
Yeah,
one
it's Noob
isn't
Saibot.
the black outfit one isn't a robot. It's Ninja Noob Saibot.
Sorry. Yeah, I
Yeah.
misspoke. That's awesome. That's who I thought it was. I wasn't sure if he
Yeah.
was already in the game though, so I was like, that could be fucking
No,
anybody. I'm
Smoke
not.
is,
I'm
but
so
Noob was not.
I'm so
Okay.
not in touch because I haven't played the past couple. I know you've kind of filled me in on, and we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
But
One is different.
I just not to even get mired into that. Just I love what they're doing over there with that game.
It's good.
They're just
Ed
doing
Boon's still
whatever.
involved.
Putting
Yeah.
Mr.
What
Mr.
a
Mortal Kombat
awesome-
still involved in
Conan.
that series.
What a
Barbarian.
relaxed line. They're just like, fuck, like, well, all right, we already put Terminator in it. Let's call up
Conan.
Schwarzenegger, see if he doesn't mind
Let's
if we
go
do
the other-
Conan too. They're like,
Yeah.
yep, there you
Let's-
go.
And
Fuck
let's
it.
get that other Terminator while we're at it.
Oh, yeah, fuck
Yeah.
it. We already got it. That's probably we could get a deal on it.
We
So I'm-
just watched Terminator 2 like 2-3 nights ago here because my son hadn't seen it yet, and like the next day that news dropped. I was like, well, you know who he is.
Gnarly. Yeah.
I love Conan
You
the
know what's-
Barbarian as well.
Yeah.
What a
Oh,
great
yeah.
fucking pull for
You
this
know why?
game. It's
that
perfect
is
because
Tusk. It's
he could-
Tusk. Tusk.
Oh,
from
that's
Killer
funny from
Instinct.
Killer
It's like-
Instinct.
yeah.
That's funny. Huh. That's a good point.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
right. Huh.
Right.
The connection.
Look at that.
Yeah,
Kinda
I can't
weird.
wait to see Conan the Barbarian rip somebody's spine out. It'll be
Yeah, I
so
wanna
This
see
ah,
this
chef's
split
kiss.
someone in
DLC
half
though,
with a
they
big
keep
ass
showing
sword.
a bunch of story stuff for it because I guess Havoc, that dude whose body like comes apart and shit, something's happening with him. Anyway, the reason why I mentioned that is because this DLC is $50.
Oh, wow.
And so it's like, wait, what?
Wow.
$50 for this
I didn't-
Chaos Reigns
wow.
is the name of this season, basically, which includes those 6 characters. And it looks like it's going to have like more story or more stuff to it, which Mortal Kombat 1, the way that
Ah.
the story and the other things play is actually a lot of fun. Like it makes it worthwhile to actually play the single player because it's kind of
Okay.
fun. It's not just
Ooh,
kill this
that is
guy, kill
very
this guy,
interesting.
kill
I
that
did
guy.
not realize that it cost that much and that they
That's
were
a
going to pull
lot,
in new
yeah.
storyline
That is a
stuff.
lot.
That's
That's a
actually
whole
pretty
ass
tight
game.
though.
Yeah.
Still, nevertheless, I think their model of release and shit like that is. I bet it'll work out for them. It's a good ass
Okay.
fun game
I mean,
series.
6 characters, and if there's extra content, okay,
Other thing I wanted to highlight that I read online. I don't know if you saw this on IGN, Buck, but people found clues as to perhaps a Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaper
Oh, I
1
had
and
that
2
here.
remaster
Which is
maybe coming out.
So funny because in our PS1 carousel, Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver almost made it into my top 5. So I almost manifested some podcast powers
I
there.
do believe we've talked about bringing it back
subliminal.
before. Like, where is it? Where'd it go? Why don't we?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny. Like that didn't come up on the PlayStation carousel, and I feel like it should have. Like that's a really popular franchise.
I haven't played it in
There-
a really long time, and I watched a
Yeah.
bunch of videos of it while prepping for that episode, and I was like, I do like this, but man, I don't think it's quite quite my top 5, maybe my top
It's
10.
very hack and slashy, right? Like the Soul Reaver games, they're very like
It's a
hack and
platform
slash
beat 'em
kinda-
up.
Yeah, it's
3D platformer beat 'em up.
Tomb Raider without guns
Puzzles.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Tomb Raider without guns.
You
Interesting.
kill
Yeah.
guys, suck their souls to get your HP back. But yeah, there was
Right.
these statues on the floor, and there were plaques on the
Mm.
statues that said "Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remake" on the plaque.
What?
So yes,
that was
that
it?
was
That was
the
the leak?
eagle-eyed clue, which is just like, what the fuck does that say? Like,
Very
what?
straightforward.
Excuse me.
It's
Like
very
they
in
had
your
to
face,
They had to
you know, like-
commission it. They had to make this
Yeah.
plaque. They had to take it to the convention, put it at their booth. What? That's weird.
And then the last thing from me that I wanted to mention, Buck, did you see Gundam Requiem for Vengeance?
I have
What?
heard of this, and that's the name of that's the show, right? It's the Netflix show that's coming. Yes, I am
Yes.
excited.
So
Me liking
a
me
trailer
Gundams.
dropped for that at San Diego Comic-Con, and the whole thing is 3D models done in Unreal Engine 5,
Right.
and the premise is the whole show is from the perspective of the Zeons that are trying to reoccupy Earth, and like the Gundams are like scary bad guys. Like
I
they
mean-
are portrayed as
Oh.
like horrifying death machines
They
that
kind
like
of are.
Because they are.
right. And so there's
Yeah.
like the trailer. I was like, yes, this is a great idea. And, like,
Yeah,
it's
I
like
mean,
all
they're-
the guys like trying to like chill
That's
out
cool.
and eat food, and then off in the distance you just see like the red lights of
It's
the
crazy-
Gundam
crazy
come on, and
space
then you just hear
Germans.
screaming, and it's just like, oh man, great idea. It's a really fucking good idea.
That's why,
So-
like Gundam MS, the 08 team is one of my
Yeah.
favorites. The Vietnam Gundam, as they call it.
OS
because
MS team is fantastic.
That is
yeah.
my favorite because it's exactly like that. Like, here's these guys, they're kind of moving forward. They got tank support. They're eating cans of beans in the jungle. And next thing you know,
Yeah.
set of eyes and a gun barrel from the hillside.
It looks you could just when you get don't watch it now, but when you get a chance, I bet you'll
seen it.
you'll probably like the
Well,
trailer.
maybe
as
there's a
well.
new
It's
trailer.
I'm
awesome.
gonna
I
check
haven't
this
seen
shit
it.
out later.
Yeah, I
for
think
sure.
that was a San
Isn't it?
Diego
Does it come out
Comic-Con,
like
like a
next
long one.
month?
I did. I should have known that, shouldn't I?
Wow.
Fuck.
Is it
Uh,
3D animated? Like
Yeah. It
CG,
looks.
Oh, okay.
It's it's for the Gundams. The Gundams and the models for the people. I could take them or leave them, but the Gundams and the
AI, extra
Zaku's look
fingers.
awesome. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, Buck, did you have anything else you wanted to mention that you saw from San Diego Comic-Con or Evo?
Couple cool things. One of the ones at the top of my list was Udon Comics. You might love this, Raph. They make all those really great Street Fighter comics and
Okay.
whatnot that they've done.
Yeah.
They acquired the rights to the Mega Man comic series, which Archie has been doing for the last like decade.
Ooh,
Yeah, so Mega Man may be getting a little more mature.
cool.
Nice.
Archie
That's
always
awesome.
took
Mega-
the very
Mega Man manga. Say that 10 times fast.
Mega Man. It was
Mega
more
Man,
of a
Mega,
comic
Mega,
book.
Mega, Mega.
They did some crossovers with Sonic the Hedgehog too, but it was all very like kiddie, Mega Man kind of stuff.
Oh shit. Okay,
Yeah.
so I went to their website. They got Darkstalkers, Elden
Yes.
Ring, Mega Man,
Oh,
Street
yeah.
Fighter, Okami
Yo, that
comics.
that Elden Ring
What?
comic is supposed to be fucking awesome.
Yo, this looks tight, man. This looks good.
I didn't know they had an Elden Ring comic. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
So the other big one, if you guys hadn't seen yet, is the new Avengers movie with, and I'm not big into any of these movies, but with Doctor Doom as the villain and
Cool.
Robert Downey
Who-
Jr. playing Doctor Doom of all people.
That
Fucking
was
mind-blowing,
crazy.
dude.
Takes off the mask.
Mind-blowing.
So this is Marvel Comics, right? And admittedly, I'm more of a DC guy. Raph is more of the Marvel guy. But I was like, you know what? I could have sworn. And sure enough, when I looked it up, there is a What If comic right next to the What If Venom symbiote took over Deadpool was the Demon in an Armor What If from 2010. And it was what if an evil Tony Stark was Doctor Doom,
Dr.
on
Doom.
Earth 11029 or some,
No
one of those
way.
reality
That's
shit.
bullshits.
awesome.
So they've done this before where Tony Stark is Doctor Doom. So he might not even be just playing Doctor Doom. He might be playing evil Tony,
Tony
Stark.
Stark?
That
as
would
Dr.
be
Doom.
so fucking cool.
That would be fucking
I
cool
would
as
love
shit,
that.
dude.
The Russo brothers are back writing and directing Avengers 5 and 6. So
Wow,
that's a big deal.
Really?
They wrote the originals.
Yes.
Marvel's going to bring back.
Damn, that would be. I didn't know that. That's tight. Yeah, the announcement with it's funny. There's like a clip there's like one that's cycling around where it's it's Robert Downey Jr. walking to the edge of the stage and he pulls his mask off, and right before he pulls his mask off, someone in the crowd says, "Jared Leto." and, and I thought it'd be so funny if like an executive comes out at that exact moment because he overhears that better idea and is like, "Oh shit, fuck, wait, hold on." Like, wait, Robert, yeah.
We'll be right back.
Get Jared on the phone. Get Jared on the line right now.
Jared?
Jared Leto.
What?
Tell him to cancel the 30 Seconds to Mars tour.
Too.
We need to hear now.
You're right, exactly. He's like, fuck no, I'm not making Morbius 2. God, no.
No, it's
Jesus,
not Morbin
I'm
time.
done.
No, do you want to be Dr. Doom or not? Goddammit.
It's not Morbin time. That's really funny. Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's all I had for San Diego Comic-Con and Evo. Raph, did you have anything else, or
No,
would you,
dude.
okay.
Honestly, I didn't really see a whole lot from Comic-Con. Like you guys mentioned, Tony Stark showing up as Doctor Doom, and that's pretty
nothing.
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah. No,
I got
I
nothing.
didn't really see much from this. Yeah.
Rooster
That's
Fight
awesome.
anime, by the way, on Adult Swim would be. I'm just gonna name drop that. Google that. Rooster Fighter anime. All right, we're gonna
I
take a
saw
quick
that
break,
trailer.
and when we yeah, that looks tight as hell.
One cock to
when we
them all.
when we come back from our break, we're gonna talk about the Nintendo World Championship NES edition.
Hell yeah.
Gentlemen, we are back, and we're here to talk about the Nintendo World Championship NES edition. Now, we talked about this back when it first got teased
Yeah.
about dropping.
I was
this,
excited
and
for it because I loved it.
and we got so excited that Buck had pulled out his copy of the recreation cart, the limited run recreation of the original quote unquote Nintendo World Championship. And right before we started recording, Raph said, "Wait, I'm confused.
Yes.
Hold on."
I don't
Because-
understand this.
Buck, can you explain the cart going on sale of the original copy, right?
Yeah.
Of this, what
That
these
was-
are,
'cause
what's going on
This
here?
was based on a literal competition, right?
Yeah, this was an actual competition back in
Right,
1990-ish. And that's like the news you guys are all hearing right now about golden auctions. They'll appreciate more
Right.
press, I'm sure, about one of the actual gold NES championship carts going up to auction for the first time in a decade. One is in a public auction right now. I'm sure it's still going on as of airing this
Yeah,
episode.
yeah.
Right.
Um,
It's gonna
Currently
sell
going
for
only
like
rated
six figures or something. Like
the last one sold. So this one is gold, which the other one was too, but it's got no label. It's rated at like a 4, which is a little bit lower than normal. But last one was 10 years ago, and it sold for $100,000. So you could probably,
2014.
I think $250,000 is how much this thing's going to go for. You can put a little
it's
side note that that's what
crazy
Megabuck
to
said. But
with no label to ensure that it's what it
There's-
says it is as well.
they only
is, like,
made
wild.
12 of them, and there's only like 10 known to exist. Like 1 or 2 of them have never been found and documented. I mean, they made there were like something like 50 of the grays because they used the gray ones for the actual competitions. Most of those they know where they are, but the gold
I
ones
read
were given
26
to
golds.
winners.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. But there's a couple that they
That's
don't
what I
know
heard, yeah.
where they are, and the
Mhm.
gold ones were only given to the winners. So that was the only way to get those. There's even less of those.
Wild.
So the one that I showed you guys before that you had seen, Raph, that's a Retrobit did a reproduction like 20 years ago. I've owned that one, give or take.
Whoa.
It's even worth like $500 or so now that they made those. And so it's a reproduction cartridge of that where you played Mario to collect X amount of coins, Rad Racer, and Tetris, and it totaled up your score of the 3, and that's how people got points in the original World Championship. So this new one that we're talking about for the Switch is just, if you ever played any of the WarioWare games, or even more specifically the NES remix games for the Wii and the DS,
those really.
Okay.
these are collections of mini games like you played that are just from all those different games. So these are much more fun and less competitive, or at least there's more variety of competitiveness to them. But it's a totally different bag of tricks.
So
but different
quite
kinds.
So-
competitive.
that classic cart. I don't mean to go backwards at all in this conversation, but things are only worth what people are willing to pay for them, right?
Yeah,
Who,
sure.
Yeah.
who is buying
Supply
Who
and
is
demand, man.
spending $250,000
So
on
that
this golden game cart with no
that
label? What
not to be
man?
confused golden and golden, but Golden Goldin auctions, the big auction house who is mostly sports up until recently. They have a pretty successful Netflix show and they broke into pop culture and video games and all that stuff. Those guys, whenever he's talking to someone about selling an item, right? One of his biggest pitches to them is, I have a worldwide network. Not only do I have email addresses of hundreds of thousands of people that have ever bought from us, but I get worldwide attention. You don't know if there's some millionaire living in some other country that just really wants that item and has always wanted that item in his collection, and he pops his head out just for that.
Yeah.
I guess so. For every pot there is a lid, and
Yeah.
there's so many humans
That's a
that there
good point.
is one who not only likes the Nintendo and likes that that piece of history memorabilia.
You know how many people
and
need to
also
drive the
has
price
a
up?
$250,000.
You need
that
two
is
people
bonkers.
to drive that price up. That's it. You need two to bid against
That
it.
thing is somebody's rosebud.
Right.
That thing is
Yeah.
somebody.
That guy is gonna be on his deathbed and
Much
be
better
like,
than a sled, but yeah.
classic.
That somebody got that because they
They had to
tried
have
to
it.
get into this competition and they couldn't get in.
They had to
Some
have it.
shit. You know,
Whatever.
like
Yeah. They told me
I'm
I wasn't
making
good
a
enough and
story
I
in my
lost, and
head
so I went
now,
on and
yeah.
became a millionaire, and
yeah.
now I have a
And
Turner
now I'm gonna
TNT
take this
movie.
and I'm gonna take my bully and time. I'm gonna smash it in front of him. Just as anyhow, we used to talk about this new Switch game, this new Nintendo World Championship NES edition. In a nutshell, this game kicks ass.
This game's fucking
Is
awesome.
my
dude.
It is
my
a blast.
review of
Yeah.
this game. So much like Buck said, or not much like Buck said, this game has taken objectives of NES games and broken them down into little mini micro games that vary in difficulty, mostly due to their length. So one example of a mini game is to collect the very first mushroom available in Super Mario World.
It takes like 5 seconds.
It takes
Super Mario 1.
5 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Or
Super
three.
Mario 1.
Yeah.
Or it has pretty much all of them.
Yeah, there's a
Um,
Super
1, 2,
Mario
and
3
and-
you got the first. Yeah,
I cutting
rather.
right to the game. I love the way that they have grouped these mini
Yeah.
games for you.
Yeah.
So when you start the game, there's two options: single player and party mode. So if you do the single player, you can basically do the challenges and the themed grouping of challenges by yourself, and then you can race your
Try
a
and
shadow of your
speed
best
run, right.
time, which is really fun. And the game has all sorts of tips as to do these tasks faster and more efficiently. The party mode, you and up to 7 friends can just play these themed mini game bundles just to your heart's content. And I'm talking some of them take 30 seconds to play total, the whole thing. If
Right.
if
The
you have
challenge
4
is
people that
5.5 seconds long.
yeah, the
Dude,
easier
Times 5
ones.
it's
challenges.
the best party
Yeah,
game.
those are fun,
It's
yeah.
like just the best thing to play if you have 8 people that want to play a game. You know, like pull this shit out, dude. It's so good.
So some of the groupings, like the themings of these challenges, will be like there's one it's just I can't remember the name. I don't remember. I should have written the names, but there's one that's like
Oh.
a
They give funny
bundling
things
of
like Intro
all.
to Zelda or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one is called like Mushroom One, and it's just like it's 4 challenges, and they're all just collecting the first mushrooms in Mario 1, Mario 2, Mario 3. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's
Yep.
one where you collect all the items from Metroid, and it's
Right,
yeah.
and then
You literally
beat the
just
last
like
boss.
the morph ball. You jump to the left, you jump up above, you
Yeah.
grab the morph ball, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the whole challenge. It takes like
Yeah.
8 seconds.
Yeah.
It plays a little when you do the mini games. This is stupid, but I like that it plays the audio from the game. So it's like you said,
Yeah.
grab the morph ball and just like 3, 2, 1, doom, doo 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 doom, doo doo doo
Yeah.
doom, doo 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 doom, and the
Yeah.
Metroid starts playing, and then in the background there's a very faint
Yeah, you hear
like a
people
little
crowd,
fake
cheering.
crowd
Yeah.
cheering
watching
for
you,
you.
yeah. That's
And
fun.
then when you finally do whatever you need to do, it plays like a pop, like a party popper sound, which is satisfying every time. It makes you go,
Yeah.
got it.
Got
As
it.
soon as you pop it, you got it.
I
How
love
many
the
times
Zelda
last night, like
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, see, I love the Zelda one where it's like kill 5 Octoroks.
Yeah.
Go kill this. Get the sword. It's just like go in the cave, pick up the sword. Whoever gets it first wins.
It was interesting. We had like I said, a collective of 6 people, and there was
That's
some
cool.
gamers. There were some gamers and some not so gamers. And
I was gonna get on. Yeah, like it worked for even gamers that weren't gamers. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I
yeah.
would say so. There were some, because I've listened to other podcasts talk about this game as well, and I found this to be true. Is that there are some games that even I myself, I'm looking at you, Ice Climbers.
Dude, Ice Climbers fucking sucks.
Holy
I'm sorry,
shit.
I hate
No,
Ice
that
Climbers.
game-
Like that game
Icarus
is terrible.
sucks.
Kid
Kid
Icarus,
Icarus
as
is
well.
hard
Just a
too.
but I'm
reminder
gonna-
that Kid Icarus sucked.
I in my notes I wrote it was really a fun way to get exposed to games that even
Right.
I haven't played: Kid Icarus, Balloon Fight, and Ice Climbers. And then I said only one of which
Oh.
of those 3 that I just mentioned is any good. It's
I played a lot
Fight.
of Balloon Fight as a
Yeah,
kid.
Balloon Fight whoops ass. But
Dude,
Kid
I was
Icarus,
fine with Kid Icarus.
yeah,
it was Ice Climbers
yeah,
that killed me.
it's not a
it's
good
the,
game.
the jumping in Ice Climbers is
Yeah.
holy shit. You nudge like a little bit, but only at the top, like the
Yeah.
apex
Oh
of your
my
jump. And it's
God.
like, and so it was like, okay, it takes me and Raph twice as long as it probably should have. But then there was someone in our party that just like didn't play any Nintendo growing up, and they
Yeah.
were just like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck? What the fuck? What the?" And we were just like, try to jump.
Yeah.
You can give up if you press L2 and R2 at the same time.
You
And
don't
then
get any
just-
points.
You
Oh,
can give
you
up.
don't, but they were just ended up giving up on a lot of these games.
I love how like the moment that you announced that you can give up, we had like 2 people in the group that just gave up after like 3
Yeah.
of them.
It was really,
I like how the
really
point
funny.
system though works
Yeah.
kind of like a Mario Kart. You can, you're getting X amount
Yes.
of points after each challenge.
That's a good way. I should have mentioned that. It basically places you. So whoever
Right.
does it first, second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever. And so it doesn't give you any extra bonus points for finishing. If you finish third and versus fourth, it's not how much farther ahead of fourth that
Yeah.
you don't get any bonus points for that.
Yeah.
If you finish first, you don't get bonus points for finishing like really first. You came in first, so you get 15 points that round.
But the best is the one
winning
where
first
like you
place
have to
in
just
Mario
beat
Kart.
all the Koopa kids, and it was just like Iggy Koopa and
I love that.
Wendy Koopa
Yeah.
and Ludwig. And
The boss
there'd be like
fights.
3 of us, and we played, and it was like you killed him, and one of us jumped at just the right time to grab the wand and beat someone else by like
Yeah.
0.2 seconds because we jumped and
Yeah.
caught the wand, and they jumped too late or too early.
Our friend,
That
we were playing with our
yeah.
friend David, and we played that one where you kill all of Bowser's children, and he got an S on Iggy, and it was like,
Oh,
whoa,
shit.
he did it so fast, he
Whoa.
did it so incredibly. I think he said he did it in like 10 seconds flat. It
That's
was incredibly fast.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It was very cool. Like I remember a couple of times our roommate Eric, like that I ended up like beating him by like 0.6 seconds.
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
a fraction of a
So we're
second.
like, you hope
We're
you're
like-
not sitting next to the couch on them because they're gonna start punching you.
Yeah, right. Like Mac and I ended up getting like literally like tied for first place on 2 different occasions.
It's a
Like,
brilliant
yeah, it's-
idea.
yeah.
The
Very
idea
fun
of
fucking
turning
game,
these
dude.
simple things
Oh my
into
God.
races, quote unquote. Like
Right.
the first one that we
yeah.
did, it's because they break these themed chunks into easy, medium, and hard, and then like crazy expert.
Yeah, very
And like
hard.
the crazy
ultimate.
expert ones, there will be one that it says like the estimated time to beat this is like a full 20 minutes.
Right.
And all
Or
you're
whatever,
basically
something
like
silly for
it's
all
like
of them.
yeah, like literally the
The
last
whole
the
first
hardest
world
one is a
and-
20
yeah.
minuter, and
Yeah.
it's like beat Donkey Kong and then beat Bowser and then beat like all of
The
Did you
entire
do any of the
first
big
world of
Metroid
Super Mario
ones?
Brothers 3.
Did you
like-
guys do any of the
We didn't
Metroid
do-
ones that were like
no.
beat Kraid, beat Ridley? You don't start in the
No.
room with Kraid or Ridley. You start
Right.
like 2 rooms away, and because you have that like lava on the ground, because jumping in the lava is a pain in the ass, like you have to then force your way back out.
Right.
The rewind feature kicks in
Yes.
automatically every time you hit the lava. This game, if you're like playing play a level of Mario, if you fall in a hole and die, rather than putting you back to the beginning and putting you way behind, it does like a 3-second
Like, a
rewind.
few seconds
So you
before.
get like
That's
a
awesome.
do-over.
it's really
less
it's
frustrating.
it's like in the NES emulator thing they have that has that same rewind feature, but
On
it
the
doesn't
NES
for you
Mini,
automatically.
the little NES Classic.
Yeah, and I think they
Yeah, but it
have it
does
for
automatically,
on the online feature as well. But yeah, it
Yeah.
does it automatically, and it's I like it. I'm just like, okay, perfect. Don't make me
Yeah.
go back
Oh,
to the
yeah.
beginning, and it does it pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah, nobody wants to
And
do
it
that.
makes. I was gonna say there was some where it's just like inhale a guy in Kirby, and like and you're going like you're talking to your friends who aren't the gamers, and you go, "Oh, this is
Got it.
simple." So you just walk up to this guy and press A. It'll blah, 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 but then like you go to do it, your gamer self, and you fuck up, and
You
it's
mess
so
it up,
fun
yeah.
every
Yeah.
time. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're like.
Yeah.
Kirby gets filled with air when you jump, and you forget that, and so you blast
Yeah.
out air and kill the guy. And go, no, fuck, shit! And
Yeah.
start the person who's
Yeah.
never played Kirby comes in a place higher than you
They're like,
because
okay.
you goofed.
Yeah.
That's a really fun party game. I said last night, I think when we were playing it, like this feels like it could be in the halls of Jackbox on party
Yeah.
nights. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where it's
You
just
got
Yes.
people over. It's fun as hell to play
you
with.
could play some of the
yeah.
simpler ones. The hardest one in the simplest difficulty crescendos with you having to do the entire first level of Mario.
Right.
Just World War one from beginning to end. And it
Mhm.
was cool for us. It was like, okay, no problem. But then they're
Yeah.
like I said, for the non-gamers, they're like, okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, but we all, like I said, every once in a while, even the people who were experienced with
Yeah.
this game would find themselves just goofing up because of the pressure, and it was.
And the
It was-
controls feel a little different. That was my one complaint about this, is that on the Switch controller, like that first level of Mario, I've done it a million times, and I know I could do it faster than I did it. I know that.
You know, they
But
make
playing on this
those. They make
controller-
those NES and Super NES controllers just for like the Nintendo Switch online. I have one. I
for
have a
sure,
set of both
yeah.
of those.
Yeah,
That would
I
be
think
a
I
huge
want to get one of
difference
those. Yeah,
because
for
the
sure.
form factor of it is 1-to-1 of an
It
NES
just feels
controller. Those would be a
different,
blast
yeah.
to play on that.
The latency on the buttons, it just felt a little different, but it just still,
That
this
might
game
be
is
your
just fun.
TV, because we had that
could've
problem
been.
on ours here where we had to sync up the TV to the Switch. Brad kept saying, "No, I think it's just these games. They're a little mushy." I'm like, "No," because we played this yesterday and it was much more responsive. And like when
Some
we
of these are
reset it,
pinpoint
it was
yeah.
pretty. Yeah, once we reset it, that latency went away.
We had some frame rate dips in Kirby. I remember Kirby, like the
Oh.
frame rate just dropped hard.
That's
for
interesting.
But
some
it,
reason.
that's how Kirby feels. If
Is
if
that
I
really
remember
just
correct.
Kirby?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I never played
Right.
Kirby growing
Yeah,
up.
because we had like
honestly.
4 characters on the screen plus Kirby, and then it just makes them like,
Yeah,
that's part of it.
chugging along.
That's funny. That's
Man,
part of
yeah,
the
it's
fun.
so funny. I was like the only one here who had played Excite Bike, Buck, and
Oh, yeah,
just
I had
never played that
roasting,
game
just
before.
fucking,
Yeah.
Fun
fucking
fact: that's the first
tearing
game
it
that
up.
I ever played.
Right?
I
yeah,
was-
Mass
I
First
Effect,
felt
video
so
game,
bad.
period, I ever played.
I thought to myself, I can't believe this didn't get on my NES carousel. I'm a fool. I totally
I'm a
forgot. I
fool.
spaced it. But yeah, we
And then I
haven't done
coached the other
all.
players, and then they got better than me at Excite Bike, and I was like, "Oh no, what have I done?"
We haven't done all of the clustering of levels, but they all looked awesome. Me and Raph were playing it, and then we're like, one of us has to get this. This is really fun.
Yeah,
That's
I'm-
cool.
That
The,
physical copy, like that box set's only like $60. Man.
Yeah,
I think
I think
I'm
it's
gonna
You
like
get a bunch of
50
cool shit
actually.
with it.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
cool.
do it.
It is a cool. physical.
One last silly thing I wanted to mention before, when you start up the game, when you're making your like online profile for all the online stuff, you get to pick your favorite NES game that like presents itself next to your profile, and they have a
That's
huge list. Like Goonies 2 was on there, so I got to pick Goonies 2.
Wow.
And then
Fun.
there's you get to pick like a little catchphrase that gets displayed next to your like a little profile
Show me your
quote.
moves.
And they're
Yeah.
actually pretty funny. Like there's multiple pages of them. Like the one that I picked was like, my life needs a hard reset.
That's
Like,
great.
like there's one like, my dad's a retro
Ugh.
gamer, or I'm a retro
Oh my
gamer,
gosh.
or like there's a whole bunch of really. Did you not pick yours, Buck? Did you not go into the
I
solo
didn't do the
play at all?
single player. We just went right into the party
Oh
mode.
man, yeah, you gotta try it. It's really funny. You'd be surprised. You're like, holy shit! There's like 6 pages of little like snippets of
Quotes,
quote
yeah.
bullshit things to select
That's
from.
awesome.
Yeah, so it was thought, and then you get to pick a little sprite, and I picked the frame in
Yeah.
Donkey Kong when Mario is hitting the top of the ladder, so it's just his ass. It's just like his butt in the air. It's
Giant
like that's
caked up
my life
ass.
needs a hard reset. It's just like this fucking
And
game's
it's Donkey
awesome.
Kong's ass.
Yeah,
Mario. No, it
Mario's
was
ass.
Mario with his thick
Oh.
bottom.
But yeah, yeah.
He's caked
Long
up as
story
fuck.
short,
That's funny.
long story short, the Nintendo World Championship SNES edition maybe next
Yeah,
for us.
that's why
That
they
would be
did that.
tight.
There was in
Oh, that would be
1994, I think there was a campus challenge. I think it was maybe, but
So
they did with Super Nintendo, and there was like a Donkey Kong Country and a Star Fox thing in it. And
Oh
so
man, I would
they did
love that.
yeah,
They'll do
because
it
this
as well as it's selling.
this-
They'll do it.
this
What kind
I
of
like.
challenges? What kind of challenges do you think would be on the Super NES one?
It would be like complete a lap in F-Zero.
Right.
Fucking
Mario World stuff, Link to the Past,
A
boss
Super Mario
fights.
World, like, first level or
Yeah, of
something
course.
like
Yeah,
that.
like getting
Donkey
to the
Kong,
castle
like,
and Link to the Past. You know.
Just
Oh,
look at
that's a
all
good
the
one, yeah.
first party Nintendo stuff because that's what's going to be in it, right? There was no Mega Man in the
Right.
NES World Championship because
Right.
it's
Right.
Capcom, right? It's all
Right,
NE,
yeah.
it's all Nintendo IPs. So it could also mean like, hey, kill Fulgore in Killer Instinct. I mean, you're still talking
yeah.
Nintendo published
True.
games, you know. So
True.
Oh yeah.
But
All
yeah,
right, that's exciting.
I welcome this game into our collection. I think we should,
Mhm.
one of us should get a copy of shit. Maybe we'll split it. But yeah, if
For
you haven't
sure.
played it,
Annals of
you're on the
history.
fence. I'm endorsing it. You guys liked it as well, yes?
Oh yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Party
No,
game.
this thing was.
Yeah.
I'm not a competitive gamer, and I fucking love this, dude.
Yeah,
I
I
had
liked
a
it a lot.
blast playing this thing. Because it
Okay.
didn't feel competitive, you know.
No,
fun.
it felt like a fun
It's fun.
time.
It was fun. Yeah. It was like a
Let's
party.
go ahead and move on to our what else you got after our quick little break, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up our episode. What say you, gentlemen?
Sounds good.
Mhm.
We're back. We're doing our what else you got, where we bring to the table anything we would like, be it new video game, TV show, etc. This week, I had a couple things to choose from, but I'm picking something that's apropos with our theme, a video game that I got that ties in perfectly with Evo, and it is a game that the Megabuck gave to me that he found while what's the name of that flea market stand that you hit up on your way to the beach? Do you know? Does it have what's the
I didn't get that there, but the owner
Oh.
Greg at the video game dungeon over in Daytona is a really nice guy. We visit him once a year to do some stuff with him for retro. But I picked that up from you from a curated, separate
Nice.
deal.
this bad boy right here?
Oh, that thing looked really good. Yeah.
King of
Japanese
Fighters, 96.
copy of
yeah.
King of Fighters 1996 for the
Yes.
Game Boy. Mac, a Game Boy fighter? That sounds like caca. You're right.
It normally is.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought, because I thought my head jumped to Mortal Kombat. My head jumped to
Street
Street
Fighter.
Fighter.
Yeah,
Just
all that
not
garbage.
fun. Like ones where I'd rather play the Tiger version of them, the ones that had the you get a
The
target
Tiger
or whatever.
electronics.
Yeah. No, dude, no.
Yeah. This is
This
nice.
game, I'm not gonna
Pop some
pop it in my
gameplay up
analog
right
'cause-
now.
Yeah, I'm about to say I'm not gonna pop it into my analog pocket, but I'm gonna get some gameplay footage off the internet. It is fucking amazing. The frame rate that this game runs at is diabolical. It feels
I'm
like it's
astounded.
running at 60 frames per second.
I'm astounded. Like
It
I mean,
looks
Game
so
Boy, it's probably
good.
running at 20 or 30, so it looks beautiful.
Your
Yeah.
character on the analog pocket too, it looks like Yomi Hustle. Your characters are moving so fluidly and so quickly. It's got a stacked King of Fighters roster. Like it doesn't have like 6 characters. It has like 15 characters. It's got like Joe, or no, it doesn't have Joe actually. It has Terry and Andy and Geese and
Mature and Iori and
yeah,
Mr.
God,
Big,
what's
Krauser.
the Krauser? Wolfgang
Yeah,
Krauser
wow.
is in this
Yeah.
game. They all have these awesome chibi designs that look so good. They look so amazing, and this is for the Game Boy, so there's only 2 buttons. So there's, normally in King of Fighters, you've got a light, medium, and a fierce, and then like your special or whatever, I believe it, or they have 2 kicks, 2 punches.
The dodging. No, you're right. He has like usually the 3, and then you have like a dodge
They
or a
have
grab or
their
something.
own different thing over there at King of Fighters. But in this game,
SNK.
you only have you only
right.
have kick and punch, but everyone has all of their moves. The other when we were talking about, I can't remember what game. We were talking about Four Swords, The Legend of Zelda 4 Swords
Oh,
for the
right.
Game Boy
Yeah,
Advance.
yeah.
And we are mentioning that handheld games just used to be gimped. Not
Yeah.
this one.
No,
Yeah.
that is a
Not this
whole
one.
Diamonds in the
ass
rough, as they're called.
game.
Everybody has all of
Yeah.
their moves. Like Terry
Yeah.
Bogard has his power geyser, his burn knuckle, his rising
Power dunk,
tackle,
yeah, all
his
that stuff.
crack shoot. He's got a throw. He's got his super moves. He's got his power, like the power geyser, like the big one. And they
Yeah.
you play it, do it just like the SNK. It's half circle back forward punch.
Which is
Yo.
really responsive.
It's
Like
incredible.
way
And
too responsive for a
all
Game
the
Boy.
levels are like awesome backdrops of like cityscapes, just like in
Yeah.
King of Fighters always is. Like
It's
I
got the
was
rolling mechanic. It has a
yes,
rolling
if you
mechanic
hit
in it,
both
yeah.
of your if you hit oh my god, yes, if you hit both the buttons at the same time in a direction, you'll roll just like in King of Fighters. And if you hold down and press hold both the buttons at the same time, your character will like power up his super meter like in the Dragon Ball Z Budokai games. Like
Hell yeah.
this game whoops ass. If
Yeah.
you own a Game Boy, you can get this game in Japanese on the cheap
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, it's not in American. No, you can't read it. Guess what? You don't have to read it.
Yeah.
There's
It's
nothing.
only
There's
like a
nothing to
$20
read.
game,
It's a
with
fighting
imports,
game.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
games
You don't gotta
are
read shit. You gotta punch people. That's
all
names
their
are in
names-
English.
exactly.
Yeah.
All the names
Yeah.
are in English, and there's no move list to look up in the game. You have to go online anyhow. So
There you
fuck
go.
it, dude. If you have a Game Boy, get yourself a copy of King of Fighters 96, especially if you have a Super Game Boy, because this bad boy uses the Super Game Boy. We were talking about Game Boy games at the end of their life and how they became very, very kick ass because they
Yeah.
interact with the Super Nintendo via the Super Game Boy. This game does that, and it adds
Yeah.
color and
Yeah.
extra sound, and it's fucking awesome. Just wait till you watch Iori or Kyo do their fucking dragon punch it's like thing where they extend their arms out and light on fire and spin and it looks just like it's on the PlayStation. It's like, what the fuck? It's so good, dude. I cannot gush enough about this game. It's the perfect like gotta poop. Play some of this for a little bit. Great
It
game.
has 3-on-3. It has normal King of Fighters 3-on-3
It's got
matches.
the team
Pick
3v3
three characters.
Awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Change your order.
A full King of Fighters game on the Game Boy.
Yeah.
How does that
Fucking awesome.
work? Like fighting,
they
like
just
can you
started
play
getting
these
better at
fighting
programming.
games?
There's a
Well,
magic
like-
spell in here. I swear to God, there's
Well, like,
magic
It had
in
a
this
link
bitch.
cable. You could play head to head.
Right.
if you
Okay,
had
that's
two
what
of
I
them
was
and a link
getting at.
cable.
Yeah, I think Buck understood what I was getting at. Like, if you want to play with your friends, do you
Yeah.
link cable? Is that how?
Oh,
that
yeah,
works?
yeah, yeah,
And a
yeah.
second
Oh,
copy.
that's-
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah, dude.
awesome. Oh man, that's amazing.
Holy shit. Yeah, so it's
I
a great
love it.
game. Buck, you don't
Mm.
really have anything for us, are you? You're on
I
vacation.
lied. I found some things. The
Okay, what have you got?
I met up with Mac at the Warrior of Light 2 concert over at Conduit
Oh,
here in
yes,
Orlando.
that's right.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. Me and
That
Mac
was
hung
awesome.
out. We got to watch. Yeah, you'd never seen the Limit Breakers live or any of those bands. I don't think.
I seen the Limit Breakers, but I hadn't seen
That's
the
right, with
other
Mega
two
Ran, right?
bands that were fucking awesome.
That sounds
So our-
great.
What
So
were
our
the names
buddy
of the other
Kent-
two, the metal bands?
Descendants of Erdrick, Amanda Lepre's band, and Knight of the Round, named after the Final Fantasy VII Summon.
Yeah.
It was an all Final Fantasy. And our buddy Kent puts on some shows here in town, and it was all Final Fantasy lineup. Even though I was very excited and started whistling when the Limit Breakers
Gaku
played the opening
Overdrive.
theory.
Is that the
Yes.
name, right?
Yes,
Okay.
the Limit Breakers played the opening theme to Wild Arms, and I started whistling, which was awesome.
That's great. Wild
They were
Arms.
well, it's for the old kids, that one.
Mhm.
But
They played a Final Fantasy Tactics tune like right
They
after
did.
that, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Holy shit, this is
yeah.
very good." Yeah,
It was funny. I was into my second story in a second, but I was on Discord earlier today, and Jisun, the band leader, was a friend of ours, and she popped in. We were just hanging out with Venicor and a couple of our friends, and she popped in and hung out for a bit. We were talking about the show. It was pretty cool. But that was the
Nice.
gal that I introduced you to when you were up front
Yes.
shooting video and stuff. Her and her
Yeah,
wife
yeah.
are
horn player.
buddies of ours. Yep, and she's been the
Really
leader of that
good.
band for a while now. Yeah, so they were super good. Descendants of Erdrick always shred. They do really great medleys, especially of like SNES games like Final Fantasy VI, Seeker of Mana. There's some
Yeah,
Castlevania
great
stuff
guitar
thrown in
player.
there. Yes, Amanda Lepre, she's one of those people that that guitar is like an extension of her body. She shreds
Yeah.
so hard on that guitar. And then Knight of the Round is like just picture in your head any really great metal band, but they play
Yeah.
all Final Fantasy music.
Their drummer
like
was
Max
sounds
very
amazing.
good. The drummer was
He really
awesome.
was. He really was.
That's what makes
And
it
they,
relevant, man.
They
Honestly.
debuted some new
Yeah.
tracks, and one of them was from Final Fantasy 14, like the really infamous
Yeah.
like original. It was just so cool to see that in like in a heavy metal concert setting. Some of that I haven't seen those guys in a while, so that was a whole blast.
Yeah.
The other thing this past week is I do have a slight addiction to Dead by Daylight. A lot of us play together.
Oh,
It's a limited time mode. So as of the airing of this episode, you only have like a week left to play the 2v8 mode.
That is such a good idea.
Was that
Two
two
killers
killers and
And 8
okay,
survivors.
8. That's great.
What do you say, Mac?
No, I was just gonna say I love that. I love the idea of like, because I haven't played any isometric
Yeah.
horror game because frankly, being the killer or the survivor, but being alone, especially as the killer, is too stressful for me. Like to be
it's
by
true.
myself. So to have a buddy killer is like, what a nice, you got a friend.
Yeah, I don't normally play killer because I don't like it. Venny loves it, so I was like, well, I'll duo killer with you.
Killer's
So
a
now
fun
we have
game,
a blast. We have a blast with it. We played earlier today too. But out of magical happenstance, me and him popped in. One of our friends, Mark from the UK, popped in, and all of a sudden, just people who he hasn't streamed on Twitch in a while because he's been moving. All of a sudden, people from his stream just started popping in to Discord because they saw we had it open. Next thing you know, after 3 or 4 minutes, there were 8 of us in the Discord lobby.
Cool.
So we went and did a full 8 stack of players in this 2v8 mode.
That's awesome.
And so one of the coolest things about it
That does
for
sound fun.
players, like if you guys wanted to try it, is the most intimidating thing about Dead by Daylight is it's been out so long that there's a million killers and there's all these different perks. And what's the meta? How do I do this? How do I play this? And so 2 big things happen. One, there's only 5 killers because they had to balance it. So there's a very limited amount of killers. And 2, you don't pick any perks. You pick a class. You pick, I want to work on gens. I'm better at working on gens. You pick, I'm better at healing. You pick, I'm a better runner. And you pick the scout, which is good at scoping out where the killer is and shows the killer's aura to other players. That's it. You have 4 choices.
Wow,
And
when
so
did they
you
make
don't-
this?
Just for
This
this
is a new
mode.
change?
This is a mode, a limited time mode, which they've been doing a lot lately, but this is the biggest and best one they've ever done. So it's only out for like 3 weeks.
Cool.
But you
Do
can
any of
play
these
it.
modes ever become permanent?
They haven't yet, but they also only started doing them like 3 or 4 months ago. Like they did a really funny one for April Fools called My Little Oni, because one of the killers, Oni, is the Japanese killer, and he is giant, like 40 feet tall, and you're all like itty bitty. and he would try to catch you and step on you.
That's
that was
funny.
the whole mode. So this is the biggest one that they've done and the biggest overhaul they've done. I really hope it becomes a more semi-permanent because the class thing in particular is so cool. I'm a veteran player and I really liked not having to stress over what all my different perks and different abilities were. Just give me one of those. What do we have? We don't have enough of those. Okay, I'll pick that one. And for new players, you weren't worrying about all this meta of, oh, he's got that. That's why he caught you and then did this. Like, so much fun.
I like the idea of the leveling your character up, but the idea of not doing that sounds more enticing to me. It makes it sound more of like a round to round type thing that I can just play.
Every new character adds like 2 or 3 new perks. There's like 60 characters or some insane number in that game. So you have like over 100 perks to choose from in that game, and you get to pick any 4 you want. There's great synergies, but it's like if you don't know the meta, you get picked on. And I forgot to mention one of the biggest things is in normal Dead by Daylight, the killer catches you, he puts you on a hook, right? So if the killer decides to be kind of a prick, he can hang around the hook and just make your life miserable. In this mode, when the killer knocks you down, they just step on you really quick and it teleports you across the map to a cage, and the killer doesn't know where you went. But the other survivors can see a silhouette of where you got sent. So the killers can't camp you, don't even know where you are. If they happen upon you, your cage will teleport a few seconds later, so they can't camp you. So it takes that stress and to be perfectly honest, sweatiness out of the game, because people, that really want to kill everyone will just kind of hang around the hook until you've given up and you die after your timer runs out.
Right. Yeah.
So that adds a whole other level.
Well,
that makes it
cool.
more fun. It's more fun.
Yeah. That sounds
That
fun.
sounds- yeah, and that's
Yeah.
all that matters. You just want to make the game more fun. Come on.
Some people are so
know?
sweaty in that game, man.
I
There's
know,
no
yeah.
like, there's
It's
no
sweaty,
like,
I look
yeah,
good,
there's
yeah.
no like progression to it in that because it's a limited time mode. So there's nothing like,
Yeah.
oh, my rank, oh, my MMR, like none of that shit exists in this. But damn, is it fun?
Cool. Nice. Well, Raph, have you got anything else for us this week?
I do. I've got a couple of things. First, I took another trip to Cybertron Games last week, and I picked up a couple of games. And it's a pro, I guess. You know, talking about all the Marvel shit. I ended up picking up X-Men Mutant Apocalypse,
Mutant
for the Super
Apocalypse.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
This game
good
slaps, dude. I had a lot of fun. But I gotta say, this isn't even my second thing, but it's the second game that I picked up that day. I fully know that this game is kind of not good, but I
know
had
what
to
he's
get
talking
it.
about.
I had to get it because I'm a fan of the franchise, but I picked up Metal Gear for the NES. All right.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
no, I
dude.
feel
I
asleep.
think- Yes. I actually ran into that situation.
That's right.
The other day, I was like, let me throw it on the NES. I had the NES out in the living room. I'm like, let me just go ahead and just throw it in here and just fuck around with it. And yeah, I ran into that where the homie fell asleep, and then he wakes up and he says, "Oh, I feel asleep."
Yes, correct.
Oh, I
What are you
feel.
saying?
I
What are you
feel-
saying, man? What are you saying? Are you drunk?
That's so funny.
Yeah, the other thing is that I ended up playing a little game called Pilgrim the other night, and I actually really want to play this game with you guys. I recorded
yeah.
a little bit of footage for it, and maybe I'll send it over to Mac. But man, this is like a Lethal Company style, sort of like Lethal Company or like Content Warning, where you're going from basically dungeon to dungeon, and you're diving in trying to
Oh.
find loot. But it's medieval horror, which is cool to me. You know,
Oh.
like I don't see a lot of these
Yeah.
as medieval horror.
Mhm.
You're literally on a pilgrimage. You play a group of people on a pilgrimage in a wagon that's powered by magical crystals, and you need to refuel these crystals as you play by either diving into dungeons that you run into on the way, gathering stuff that you find in there and selling it, or finding crystals in the dungeons. But there's
Mm.
also horrifying monsters in the dungeon.
Of course
And there may or may not be something terrifying following you when you're not in the dungeon either. So,
yeah.
It's a lot of fun, man.
I've
I
seen
had
this
a
horror
good time.
movie.
I
I
played
hate
it by
it.
myself. Yeah, I
Yeah,
played it by myself. It's $7.99 on Steam. I think you guys
Oh.
should get it, and I think we should all play it because I think it's a good
I
time.
watched the trailer before because I had it suggested to me via
Yeah.
Steam, and I love the way it looks. You play as these
It looks
goofy
very cool.
faced
Yeah.
like peasants. And yeah, the aesthetic is kind of low poly, like
Yeah.
you mentioned, like
You know, I
Lethal
like
Low
that.
Company.
poly PS1 look.
Yeah,
It's
But,
cool. Like if your friends die, you could revive them with chalk. You have chalk in the thing, and you find these like ritual circles that you could just draw out.
you have
the
to
circle
draw
and then
a thing
revive.
on the ground. Actually, like you
Yeah.
yourself have to draw
Ghosty
something on the
shit.
ground to
That's-
resurrect the,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
And definitely
corpse
not
of your.
wieners every time.
Exactly. Yes, you're definitely gonna draw penises everywhere.
That just so
but
happens
you're
to be the
also-
resurrection
That's
symbol.
funny.
But yeah, that's what I got. We got to play that game together. Yeah.
Cool.
Yes, we actually do. Well, hey, listen, that does it for our show. That is the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Do us a huge favor and like and subscribe. And why don't you go check us out on Instagram as well, at the Game Treasure Podcast. We want to thank, or I'm sorry, I wanted to mention, we want you to reach out to us at our email at gametreasurepodcast@gmail.com. I thought of an idea with questions, specifically questions that that you may have either about collecting video games, maybe like maybe you want some advice about what kinds of video games to collect or something like this. I don't know. We have a video
Yeah.
game collecting expert on this show.
Yeah,
So if
that's a
you
great
want to write
idea.
in with questions about collecting video games, or maybe you even want some game recommendations, maybe
Yeah,
you have
fun.
questions about fixing arcade cabinets, we have that knowledge. So
Ask
why don't
us
you
some
write us in at
questions.
gametreasurepodcast@gmail.com with those so we can answer them on the air for you.
Those are my
I
favorite
like
kind
this
of
idea.
conversations
Let's do it.
too.
Yeah.
Talk about recommending.
Yeah.
I liked this. What else would I like for XY console? And
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
boy, do I
perfect
have the
for
game for
us.
you, right? Yeah.
that's right.
So you can find links to all of that stuff at our link tree at linktree/the GTP. We want to thank Crunkwitch for the use of our theme song, Clash of the Droids. You can find them on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, anywhere you can find music on the internet. And of course, we would like to thank RetroGameTreasure.com, owned and operated by the Megabuck himself. Retro Game Treasure is a subscription service that sends collectors bespoke boxes of retro video games every month. Now, notice that I said a retro game subscription service, not a video game store. What do you mean service? Well, there's a big difference between doing all the bullshit that it takes to collect retro video games and just getting them given to you. They're handpicked for you. What I'm talking about is if you've ever had to experience going to a hot fucking stinky ass fucking flea market to buy a scratched up copy of RoboCop because it's the only thing there, and you don't even know how much to pay for it because you don't know if it's going to be good, and you don't know is RoboCop this expensive because it's good, or is it just expensive because RoboCop is good?
Right.
Yo, move.
Listen,
Kareem.
Who knows?
you don't want to think about any of this stuff. That's why you get the service of Retro Game Treasure. When you make a profile at RetroGameTreasure.com, you tell them what games you already have, what systems you have, what genres of video games you like, and then they make the choices for you. They do all of that hard bullshit for you and just send you a box of games that are resurfaced and cleaned and ready for you to play on the consoles that you have, and they're worth the money that you paid for them. Don't deal with the bullshit, because Retro Game Treasure has been obsessed with games since 1985. Buck, do you have that new subscribers list for me
I
this
do.
week?
That's right. The word bespoke, kids, means personalized.
That's gonna be our first piece of merchandise.
Bespoke means personalized. This week we welcome Juan Carlos Garcia, Neil Day II, Jason Thigpen, Miguel Villanueva, Kim Treziz, Nicholas Kunkel, Mark Lazier, and Arthur Gagnard.
That's an awesome name.
Awesome.
Thank
Hell
you so
yes.
much for subscribing. It means a lot. My name is Max Stein, and I love the Game Treasure podcast. It's so bad.
It's
It's so bad.